All right, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of Rustl'd. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo, otherwise known as Mundane Matt, meant to put up the preemptive thing where people would know that this is a reality, that this is in fact happening, and unfortunately, that didn't happen. I had to run errands. You know how it is. I had to run errands. I had to go get my baby some stuff. What's going on, Joey? What's going on, Carrie? What's going on, STFUX? I'm Shelly. What's going on, Shelly? My night's going okay. Hopefully tonight, no technical difficulties. Hopefully tonight, my child will remain asleep. That could change at any point in time, which is unfortunate, but that's what happened last night. What's going on, Abaddon? What's going on, Doubting Tommy? What's going on, David Oski? Pokemon Gaming Master HD, thank you for saying that I'm awesome. Lord knows I don't hear it enough. No, but seriously, thank you. Good thing I said who I was at the beginning, or else we would never figure it out. Well, Eric, there are people out there, roughly 45% of the people who view my videos that aren't actually subscribed to my channel. You'd be amazed at how many people don't actually subscribe that watch the content, which is one of the reasons why when I tell people about YouTube, when I talk to them about the type of work that it is, essentially it becomes one of those things where you, not everyone watches. Like, subscriber counts don't really mean too much anymore. They really don't. As sad as that is, as really sad as that is just the way things is, so to speak. Okay. Let me just quickly send this out to... again, I rushed home to get this thing on the air. All right. And what is it? I'm trying to remember what the freaking YouTube link is. No, tonight I'm not broadcasting to like different. I'm not broadcasting to different outlets tonight. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. Right? Like, I'm just not doing that at all. Let's. that was a problem. I was paying. And for some reason, the chat isn't up either. What is going on here? Oh, oops, there we go. That was a problem. I minimized the window. Let's see. TK Mao, $2 here, says, I have 9 hours of homework to do before 10 a.m. Well, sir, what I recommend you do is drink an energy drink, take a shower, a cold shower. Actually, what you want to do, is you want to take a shower, and you want to do hot shower and then turn on the cold water for a minute. Then turn it back to the warm water, I think for like 30 seconds. Then back on the cold water for another minute, and then another minute on the warm water. It's a method I read that's supposed to like shock you awake and keep you going for a while. You can also, what I'd like to do for homework, this is going to sound weird, and I'm pretty sure my dad is watching right now. You could always do some self-medication, right? Essentially, it just really helps kind of clear the pipes, makes you feel good, makes you relax, keeps your mind open for the learning, everything else. So there's that. Let's see here. Doubting Tommy says, the way some treated you today over your play button was awful. You didn't deserve that. Mr. Medicare Archives, not Jim. I like you have to clarify that. Says, why are people watching videos of you crying? Are they pathetic or what? Okay, so just for you guys want to know about that. Here's essentially what happened is when I got my silver play button in June of 2016, I did an unboxing, right? And so I opened up like, oh, this would be cool, get my freaking silver play button on. And as a result of that, I started reading the, it's a copy-paste letter, right? It is. It's a copy-paste letter that they send you. And something about it just struck. Because I'd wanted 100,000 subs for a long time. I wanted to get that plaque. I wanted that validation on my wall of what I do. If not for me, then to like show my family, who I knew was supportive, but wasn't ultimately on board. And I started just crying. Absolute tears of joy as it just hit. And so I chose to upload the video and put it out there. And yesterday, some soulless motherfuckers who have no joy in their life whatsoever, in my opinion, ended up finding it again. These are people that that knew me, that I think you could say maybe up until about 2 months ago considered me a friend, and then relentlessly mocked it. And other people re-uploaded it. Some people re-uploaded it and changed some of the font on the screen in order to say, to make it act like I was discovering that my daughter isn't in fact my daughter, and a lot of other nonsense. And so it's one of those things where it's just fucking ridiculous. It's all it is. So to Tonka, to Failure, to Andy, to all the other cunts that made fun of it, I honestly hope you find something in your life that one day makes you that happy. I do. I hope you find something in your life that brings you to absolute tears over something that you've worked on. Whether it's YouTube related or not, I don't care. All right. But like, I put a lot of time and a lot of energy into what I do. Whether it's the best, that's up for debate. Whether I'm good at what I do is up for debate. But I like what I do. I feel like I have an impact in some people's lives. Keep in mind, leading up to the release of that of that particular thing, I get letters from people all the time, talking about how my content helps them battle their depression, how watching my videos has helped people not want to commit suicide, however odd that sounds. So not only is this validation for me accomplishing something that I had personally set out to do, it's also validation to go along with those types of comments that people send me, where they are supportive and they like what I do. And so if you feel that you need to mock that as a way of making yourself feel better, then by all means continue to mock it. At no point in time do you take away from my accomplishment. At no point in time do you take away from how I felt in that moment or how I feel about that moment right now. At no point in time do you make me regret recording myself crying. You know, wasn't intended, wasn't something I planned on doing, and then uploading something of myself being absolutely vulnerable. I don't regret it, and I would absolutely do it again in a heartbeat. And if you feel like that is something you absolutely have to fucking make fun of, then it says more about you than it does about me. So there you go on that one. So yeah, as for the DCEU fans that are doing that freaking thing with the Black Panther score, I'm talking about that tomorrow on $3 Theater. That's ridiculous shit right there. So, oh yeah, so my girlfriend's mom gave me this like vitamin vape. It's like a energy vape thing. It helps keep me. I've been wanting to smoke a lot lately, so it helps keep me from going back to that. So thank you, Johnny P, for the compliment. I appreciate that. Achieving builds goal. Yeah. Goals build character. Damn straight. Damn straight. Markiplier cries almost every video. I don't know, man. Markiplier, if you think people cry, I got no issue people crying. There's nothing wrong with showing emotions. There's nothing wrong with men showing emotions. There's nothing wrong with it, period. That you know, plaque is still on my wall, and I'm hoping by the end of this year I'll have a second one for $3 Theater. I'm hoping that over the course of my career on YouTube, I do achieve the million subscriber count in order to be able to then add to that collection. It is a goal. It's a long-term lofty goal, but God damn it, I'm in this for the long game. I have been. You can't look at the amount of content I put out and sit there and say, well, Matt's only in this for the short term. What do I think of the Cuck article by CNN? I honestly haven't read it. I know it exists. But I haven't read it. Luther, I don't know. I just like smoking it. I don't know if this is good. I just like smoking it. So there's that. What kind of stories are we going to hear tonight? Well, we got a couple. I'm still trying to put the final touches on them, and everything. You cried at the end of Return of the King, dude. Wait, hold on. Which ending of Return of the King did you cry at? Honest question. I cried at the ending of Terminator 2 back when I first saw it, when it first came out. I cried, oddly enough, at Godzilla 1985. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button got me. Simon Birch got me. Man, there are some movies that just freaking that will just like, oh, Hayachi or Hachi, A Dog's Tale. Yeah, I'm not even a dog lover, man. And that movie just, I came in the last like 30 minutes of that movie, and when it was over, I was just like on the ground in tears. Like, no, this movie's so sad. So I have no problem with expressing my emotions. Think about this for a second. I talk for a living. My job is to read things and react to things. That is, in essence, expressing emotion. So yeah, it is what it is. You cried at the end of Justice League. Did you cry because the Zack Snyder cut will never come into existence in the way that we want? Because I feel your pain, brother. I feel your pain. The Lion King got you, dude. Lion King, yeah, that was sad, man. Terminator 2, straight up, thumbs up, you know. When all the hobbits were, oh, dude, oh yeah, oh, when Merry and Pippin open that door and come running in to hug Frodo, you're just like, oh, bros for life. Man, that's, yeah. Also, just the looks that Samwise and Frodo give each other, right? Just those looks. Because, like, some people have insinuated that it's, like, homoerotic. But no. Those looks are of brothers, of true bros. Like that, we know what we did. We saved the fucking world, man. I could just imagine Samwise going like, we saved the fucking world. I'm gonna go fuck that bartender. Come here, Rosie. I'll make you Rosie. Things like that. Here's the thing. Hey, what's going on, Pure Red Chaos? Thanks for coming in, man. So your dad was an airborne ranger and he cries at the end of every Nicholas Sparks movie. Okay, listen. I have a line. No, I'm not. I'm just saying. Some people, you cried during Force Awakens. Oh, no. I cried at the end. I didn't cry during Force Awakens, but I fucking cried after. All right, true story. So the whole day leading up to The Force Awakens coming out, I was like on the edge of my seat, and I was pissed too, because people have been trying to spoil the movie, and somebody actually succeeded by sending me a screenshot of an article that was not related to Star Wars, and then ended up having the spoiler in the text. Like they fucking, it was a good one, but still, that was a dick move. So it got to the end of the movie, Kylo kills Han. Movie ends. I didn't have a car at the time, so my girlfriend and I walked out and we're waiting for the bus to take us home. And I just started crying. I'm like, it was like watching a loved one die, sort of thing. And so yes, when Han Solo died, I was pissed. And that's one of the reasons why I'm pissed that in The Last Jedi, we never got a conclusion. We never got the funeral that was mentioned to be there. But we're going to find out about that damn funeral in the Last Jedi fucking book that comes out in a month. So, like, straight up, what's up with that nonsense? So, you cried at the last Airbender movie because of how bad it was. I heard about that. I heard about that. People not liking that movie. I've never watched the show. So I actually kind of enjoyed the movie, but I've only watched it one time, and I watched it almost 8 years ago, and I never thought about watching it again. So from a person who's not a fan, having watched it and not had any real emotion to it one way or the other, I thought it was okay. Did I cry when Dobby died in Harry's arms? No, but I was sad. Have I seen Bright? Yeah, I saw Bright, Zach Antis. I really liked it too. What do I think of shows like Law & Order SVU trying to cover serious issues? They just did an episode about Richard Spencer like character, and it wasn't good. Esker, the problem with ripping stories from the headlines is sometimes you have to fit everything into a mold that just can't be done. That is an issue with it. Look at the Gamergate episode, for crying out loud. Logan Paul was like the Gamergater. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, that was solid casting. Because in real life, Logan Paul is a douchebag and not mischaracterized. So yeah, I can see that. What's going on, Squish? So watch the TV show. Yeah, everyone tells me I got to watch Last Airbender. You caught shit from your friends because you legit cried at the end of Adam Sandler's Mr. Deeds right after the breakup. I can understand that, man. Watch fucking Reign Over Me, Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle. Excellent drama. I mean, you're feeling it at the end, you know. Adam Sandler is a good actor that just needs good roles. Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot about Last Airbender. You don't need to sit there and try to Sell me on it. So I already know that The Last Airbender is pretty bad. So, Shinyogo, yeah, I don't know about it's a new Studio Trigger mecha anime called which robots are piloted by having boys pilot their girl partners' asses with handles. The Japanese are not like us. Logan Paul's going on Good Morning America. Holy shit. That's crazy. Probably shouldn't vape on stream. People might be thinking that I'm on Vape Nation. What movie do I hate that most other people love? Juno. I really hated Juno. A lot, actually. It's a pretty bad movie. Pretty bad. Did I cry when I watched Chips? I haven't watched Chips. No. Have I seen Death Note? I've seen the live action Death Note from Japan. I saw part 1. Never saw part 2. And yes, I watched the Netflix Death Note, and I actually liked the Netflix Death Note. So I cut a lot of flack for that one. You cried when Professor X and Logan died? Yeah, Nathan. A lot of people did. It didn't make me cry. Probably because it wasn't so like out of the blue. Because I was watching Patrick Stewart get interviewed by Stephen Colbert like right beforehand, and Colbert basically said it happened, right? Without like 100% giving away the spoiler, he basically said it happened. Juno is crap. Thank you, Mr. Shadow. Yeah. Oh yeah, Napoleon Dynamite was god awful. I laughed at like one joke in that movie. And it was just when like the Vato showed up to like enforce the vote for Pedro. Other than that, the movie was horrible. Horrible. Hold on. I'm sorry, Doubting Tommy. I'm sorry. Are you saying you hate Die Hard? I don't understand how a person can hate the greatest action movie of all time. I don't understand that. Were you just looking for the detonators, like hoping that they would find the detonators, and then they would just end it? You know, you want Hans Gruber sitting on a beach earning 10%? What, man? What? Were you upset that Ellis died? You know? Oh man, how can you hate Tron? Oh, look, Tron. Okay, Tron doesn't suck, but it's dated. Tron Legacy was actually solid, and the soundtrack on that movie was dynamite. So I'm waiting to see if Doubting Tommy. Oh, what's the greatest Christmas movie of all time? Die Hard, hands down. Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. Yeah, I love the articles that come out every year. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Oh, the fuck it isn't. Okay, let's just break down. I was gonna do this video too for $3 Theater, but I totally forgot. But let's break down. Hold on, I'm gonna record this. Let's break down the complexity of why Die Hard is a Christmas movie, of why it's the best Christmas movie. What happens when you watch any Christmas movie, right? Any Christmas movie ultimately follows the same formula. There is a person who is at odds with a family member or something going on in their family that they don't like. There's a problem that they can't seem to fix. They always find themselves embroiled in a larger situation. And at the end, it's all about being reunited with family and discovering that you love them, discovering that they love you, discovering that you can put aside your petty differences and still be there for one another. Now, tell me how that doesn't apply to Die Hard. Pro tip, you can't. You cannot. Here's this. Let's break it down. Okay, conflict. All right, standard Christmas movie. Someone comes home for the holidays to not be with, to end up being with family or not being with family because he could go either real way. John McClane heads from New York, where he's a detective, fish out of water, heads to his wife's new home in Los Angeles to go meet her work family at Nakatomi Plaza on the 31st floor. Okay, so there's your setup. He's there at the Christmas party meeting the new people. He meets her boss, kind of like her dad, like does all that kind of stuff. Then here come the terrorists, right? There's your conflict. Now he has got to ultimately save Christmas. Think of it kind of like someone breaks into the mall, kidnaps Santa Claus, and wants to rob all the toy stores. His job is basically to Paul Blart that shit, get in there and take that stuff. So, and save the day. So yes, he fights the terrorists. He ends up defeating the terrorists. He saves his wife on Christmas. They reunite, reconnect, refall in love on Christmas. And he ends up meeting a new best friend, Reginald VelJohnson, right? I'm just saying. Die Hard is a good movie. Christmas Story is overrated. I actually agree. It's a good movie in mind's eye, but in reality, it's really not that good. It's not horrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not the best. It didn't do it for me. It just didn't do it for me. How often do I live stream? Pretty much daily. At this point, I live stream a lot. Yeah. Okay, let me just go and pull up the rest of these stories here. That's for tomorrow. That's for tonight. Okay, I was in the process of getting some stuff. We're going to go through a few stories. I'm trying to find... here's the thing. If you guys know of any crazy shit that you want me to talk about, send it my way. mundanemat.com/submit. I'm still pulling from some stories tonight. So, because I was a little bit late getting in. So if you guys got anything, be sure to send it over my way. We got 147 people watching as well. If you haven't already, feel free to slap that like. Smash it like you crushed that partner's genitals when you engaged in sweet, sweet lovemaking. That would be good. I appreciate that. What's the best Japanese film I've ever seen? I would say I really, really, really loved Battle Royale. Like, I thought it was a well done movie. I haven't read the book. I know the book is better. The book goes into a lot more detail. But man, did I really like Battle Royale. I've summoned your cat to your room. Awesome, man. Awesome. You can like live streams. Yeah, you can like any video on YouTube. It's that simple. Right. Okay. Hold on. I did want to cover this as well. At least getting it ready. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to find stupid autoplay videos. Good thing I caught it. All right. There we go. On that one. Okay, yeah. If you guys find anything, someone sent me something. Let's take a look here. But yeah, no, I find a lot of crazy stories. I like crazy stories. I think they're a lot of fun. But it also depends on how you want to. I keep getting sent stories about Stormy Daniels, right? Like, okay, that's an interesting story. That's an interesting situation at this point, mostly because nothing about it makes sense anymore, right? So Stormy Daniels says that, you know, okay, so the report is Trump boffed her a few times. They had 4 encounters over the course of a year. He promised her that she would be on The Celebrity Apprentice, which she never made it. And at the end, right before the election, his attorney paid her a lot of money, right? Like, you know, $230K. And that is definitely... Oh, wow. Holy shit. Sorry, I just got like this huge... sorry, someone sent me this really huge email that caught my... what the hell? Huh. Okay. Yeah, go figure. Sorry, I got like distracted by a huge freaking email that I got. I was looking through this, like someone sent me something at this huge... Apparently someone is mad at me that I criticize religion. So, and apparently the email is coming from a it could be a large YouTuber, which I find that to be interesting, because that just does make a lot of sense to me. Let me take a quick look here. I want to double check. Okay. Okay, so it's another person that is ripping off. So, okay, so it's not, okay, so it's a person, whoever emailed me made it think that it was a bigger YouTuber, like a big YouTuber who I've talked to a couple times. And it's not that person. It is another person, at least according to a Google search of the email. Okay. And they've written for what appears to be a okay, they're mad at me for criticizing religion, and they are a religious person. So there we go on that one. Good stuff. This is, I know, completely out of stopped what I was doing. Okay, Buckshot, whoever you are, that is one that's going on today. Yeah, okay, what was up with this one here? Okay, yeah, the Bill Nye story. Somebody sent me a Bill Nye story. Let me just bring this up here. Yeah, what is up with that? Like, what is up with them attacking Bill Nye? Take a quick look. It's okay. It's manageable. The length is manageable. We'll go through there. All right, that should be good for tonight, because I've got some funny stuff. So let me. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I got 5. Should be good. Should be good on that one. Okay. Okay. Religion is also, I just, it's more like, it's criticism. It's more like, look, people can be critical of me. I'm fine with people being critical of me. I have no issue people being critical of me. It's part of what I do. My job is to criticize other people or criticize other things or whatever. So I have to expect that it would also in return be done to me as well. So that's perfectly fine. What's funny though is that, like, I feel like I should just read this to you guys. You want me to read it? You guys want me to read this this letter? It's not super bad, but it's a little long. You know, so it's a little long. You guys want me to read this? It's yeah, you guys gotta, it's all right. I'm waiting to see if the chat catch up on this thing. All right, because I'll read this one live. I won't say who it's from. I'll just say that it's from a person named Sky. All right. So it says here, Matt, I'm not trying to be mean here. I'm really not, but I have a hard time watching your videos these days, and it is your fault. I can accept that. I watched your video titled, Women Aren't Ruining Star Wars, Bad Leadership Is. In this video, you say you don't know if the person who wrote the article is religious or they believe the Bible, but then proceed to assume they are, and then mock people who are religious and believe the Bible and call them hypocrites if they find tarot and astrology silly. I didn't really call people hypocrites. I said that, like, there are people there who believe these things. I have no problem with spirituality, right? I don't like organized religion. And if, you know, that, you know, that applies to the Bible. The Bible, it comes from organized religion. Multiple religions have Bibles, and it's written by man, meant to be interpreted via their God or deity, but I still don't, you know, it's still written by man. It's fallible, yet it's treated as infallible. Anyway, he says, I get it. You aren't religious, and have chosen to be rational and believe in science. Okay. But I'm really sick of being told I'm irrational and have no evidence for my beliefs because mine are religion, and that I'm not allowed to question people like you as yours aren't religion. You're not allowed to question. No, you can question anything you want. The term religion is not actually a synonym for Christianity, as one can be religious and not believe in Christ or the Bible, but you don't seem to treat it this way. Well, when I bring up the Bible, it tends to lead itself. Let's just kind of lump it into the Abrahamic religions. How about that? I think that's a fair thing. All right, you get the Abrahamic religions. Fine, let's go with that. So we're still, the only reason you aren't religious is because we have arbitrarily decided that people who are atheists or agnostics aren't religious. Well, people who are atheists generally aren't religious. Therefore, unless you want to question whether or not the idea of an atheist not believing in something is akin to, therefore, a belief, and ultimately would then fall under the category of religion. It's something we could argue at probably great length and ultimately get nowhere on. But I digress. But still, come on. But that's not good enough for me. I don't see you or anyone else as non-religious. And yes, I've seen the stupid dictionary definitions. Dictionaries contain more than one definition, and they are by no means infallible. I also have a degree in religious studies, which I give far more weight than a single reference. Well, if you have a degree in religious studies, then why is what I said something that impacted you like that? And I think that's a valid question. If my commentary on my not believing and liking organized religion, but saying spirituality is fine, triggers this person to the point of where he wrote this long diatribe, then it clearly had an impact. It clearly had an impact. So he says here, it is not hypocritical for a Christian, and you were talking about Christians, to think tarot or astrology are silly whilst believing in the Bible. It is insulting for you to say that they are. Maybe. You see, as much as you've accepted the modern secularist view that all religion is fake and there is no evidence for any of it, that doesn't mean that this is true or that we should accept the Bible and that is not based on facts or has no evidence to back any of its claims up. Well, the way I personally view religion is have your faith, which would ultimately tie into religion. It's the organized part that I'm not a fan of. It's the way that those communities are built to contain and control and ultimately ostracize those who do not fall in line. And this comes from a person who has been booted out of a church for, and I shit you the fuck not impregnating a 13-year-old girl when I was 15. This was a Calvary Chapel branch in Portland, Oregon. So this wasn't like some weird farmhouse, down fucking church. This was it's a franchise, because that's what these things boil down to. They're franchises. When someone's out on a mission, they're trying to franchise. So that's what it boils down to here. So yes, my saying you want to have your faith is perfectly fine, but other than that, no, I don't think you should have organized part of it. Because if you have to pay for your God to love you, or pay for access for your God to love you, or to forgive you, or anything along those lines, or you feel guilted or pushed into something along those lines, then that's not really a faith worth having, in my opinion. Sorry, he says, nor should we use the old cobbler that faith is defined as belief without evidence and all religions rely on faith. I've heard that argument, the whole if you have evidence that you do not need faith bit, and it's really shallow, but you haven't disproven it. You've heard of it, you think it's shallow, you still haven't disproven it. So Hitchens' razor kind of applies here. Faith is not believing in something without evidence. It actually comes from the Latin root fidese, which means trust or loyalty. While one can trust or be loyal with no evidence, that in no way means that all faith is believing without evidence. And plenty of people that do have evidence to back up their religious beliefs. An example would be perfect here. Evidence I'll gladly show if you're so inclined, but is immaterial for the discussion. Okay, hold on. Come on. You're going to sit there and chide me for saying that a lot of this is written by man and therefore it is fallible. And there's not a lot of evidence for this. And then you yourself say you don't need evidence, but there are people out there who have evidence. And if you want to see evidence, I'll show you. But for the context of this conversation, it is not relevant to what I'm trying to say. That's a fallacy. Suffice it to say, comparing belief in the Bible to belief in tarot or astrology may work in a mentality that views them as fake with no evidence, but it doesn't work in the real world. As you succeed in DPing when you say things like this is alienating people who believe in the Bible whilst promoting a myth that allows others to ridicule them. All I've said, and as I've repeated in the segment right here, is simply, I don't believe in organized religion. Have your faith, whatever it may be. I don't care. If you don't hurt anyone, I don't care. That's entirely you and your belief to have. But I don't have to agree with your belief, nor do I have to accept your belief as something that I would believe to be real. I can sit there and just say, cool, you can have those thoughts. I'm just going to disagree, and we could go on about this till the end of time, or just live and let live. And like I said, if you're not hurting anybody, then I have no issue with you. Satanist, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Buddhist, Mormon, Scientologist, cult of Mac, whatever you want to say. I don't care, provided you're not harming anyone else. It's like if I said all Muslims are terrorists. Wow, man. I did not say that all Christians were terrorists or even make the assertion. That is a wild, wild allegation. And no, I don't think all Muslims are terrorists, nor do I think they are all evil or irrational. But if I said Islam, by definition, make one's a terrorist, and all Muslims who aren't terrorists don't really follow Islam, then it'd be pretty insulting, promotes a rather negative view towards Muslims, and isn't true. But I never said anything of the sort. So it's, again, his argument that he's making here ultimately just kind of does nothing. It's just he's trying to rake these points in, but he just almost feels like he's missing his own point of his own argument. While being called irrational and hypocritical doesn't carry the same problems, and that you'll still be safe going to airports, it is still hurtful and degrading in the same way and isn't justified. No, I agree with that. I don't think people should be targeted when they go to airports, especially for the color of their skin. But there are people out there that do want that, and they have access to very, very, very loud megaphones, and they have the ability to make those claims. And in some of those countries, we have talked about the horrendous atrocities that happen to man. In Saudi Arabia, for example, we've seen videos of not ISIS, but actual Saudis throwing homosexuals off of rooftops. And then also videos of ISIS throwing homosexuals off of rooftops. That is something that subjugates people who are of a different belief or are therefore killed for an alternative belief. But yet I'm not allowed to criticize them or criticize their faith as a result of that. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. He's trying to say, like, I'm a Christian, I'm not a terrorist, sort of thing. It's kind of losing the point here. The Bible is actually very old and has been well studied. And most scholars and even atheists like Ehrman and agnostics like E.P. Sanders would never claim that the Bible is completely false. Nor do they say if you disagree with their perspectives, you are the one who's irrational. But we're asking for evidence of the claims held within the Bible, a Bible that is put on a pedestal as being a testament from God. Is it a series of fables about morality, or is it an actual dictation of events? Did Jonah, in fact, enter the mouth of that whale? Did Jesus walk on water? Did Moses split the sea? These are things that are put in there that are treated as accurate, treated as real, and asking for evidence of such, or hell, even evidence of giants, man. You see some YouTube videos of that stuff every once in a while, but I'm just saying, like, if these things existed, there would be some kind of record of it. And if there is, I've never seen it. And if that pops up and it's like legitimately from ye olde time, then I would definitely change my opinion. But I'm saying in this particular context, he is so desperately trying to prove his point, but he keeps missing everything. So he's anyway, he says here, and that's the thing. Why should I, as a Christian, be told that because I don't think shuffling cards I can really tell the future, and be called a hypocrite because I don't believe that, or because I do believe the Bible is true? Well, you're putting faith in one thing you can't see over another, and you're kind of chiding one over the other. Believe in your Bible, believe in your tarot cards. It ultimately makes no impact on my life whatsoever. He says, but let's. He's like, oh no, because you and other modern atheists have decided my beliefs aren't based on evidence and are irrational. I've never said I'm an atheist. I've always probably been more on the agnostic side. But at this point, I'd like to see it. You want me to see it? I need to see it. If you want me to believe it, I'm sorry. So, this listen and believe shit don't work with feminists or SJWs, and it's not, it works with them. It does not work with me. And let's be honest, the modern day septic, I don't know if he misspelled skeptic or he put a C instead of a K, but septic. So it makes me wonder if this person's a troll, because that's kind of what's been going around right now in terms of commentary. Oh, the septic community is really not all that concerned with critical thinking and reason. If they were, they'd not make the arguments they make, like buying the story that Jesus never existed and is based on earlier pagan gods like Horus, or saying the Dark Ages were caused by Christianity. Had they not hoped to be exploring, and had they not, we'd be exploring the galaxy by now. Look, man, I have no idea if those few hundred years of no real advancement called the Dark Ages was spurred by Christianity or Islam or whatever. But we had a series of growth. It stopped. It picked up again. So who knows where we'd be if it hadn't stopped at that point. I am not Christian because it makes me believe, or because it gives me comfort. I'm not Christian because it makes me feel good or because I need something to soothe my emotions. I am Christian because I choose to be. And I've studied this and other religions for years. I have seen quite a lot to tell me the truths of the Bible, things which would convince me intellectually, not emotionally, that is true. I don't like being told my beliefs are not rational and only held due to comfort. Why should I? Well, no, you shouldn't, and I understand your position. Again, I'm not trying to lash out here, but this video is not the one that you made anti-religion comments, and frankly, I'm rather sick of it, which I understand entirely. Calling people hypocrites because they believe the Bible and think tarot and astrology is silly is unnecessary. It only exists in your video out of your own desire for whatever reason to shame people like me. I wasn't shaming people like you. I was shaming other people who I know who frequently use tarot cards. It was more of a gag at someone in my personal life. So I'm sorry that you took my comments to heart. They were not aimed at you. Calling people, hold on. Well, what did we do to you to justify that? Oh, dear God. Oh, it keeps going. Holy shit. Oh my God. I don't even want to keep going through. Hey, look, it's the same it's the same stuff. It just keeps repeating himself. That is a long one. And then he sent me a secondary email that says, oh, 2 last things. I'm sorry for the odd spacing. The word processor program I used didn't interface well with this when I cut and pasted. Also, sorry for the link, but it's an important topic. Holy shit. That is a lot. That is a lot. I don't know, Riley. It was some email. There was still like double that length. I wasn't gonna do it. Because we've already been on for 45 minutes and whatnot. Man, that is a very long email. That is a very long email. I mean, I appreciate the guy putting the time in. So I was, what denomination was I? I've gone to Baptist churches. I've gone to other churches. I jumped around. I think I'm probably more Baptist than not, but yeah. So, Blue Healer 100, I don't think anything you just said was true. Sorry. What if religion and science are 2 sides of the same coin and they're trying to explain the universe in different ways? Now, Heron Gaming News, that is a interesting perspective of looking at it, and one worth a thought. Maybe not right now, but ultimately one that I'll keep with me and I'll contemplate, because that's an interesting way of looking at it. So I do appreciate that comment. Can I make Maddism real? No wizard shit. It would be Jarbology. That is the name of my religion. Jarbology. If God was real, why did the Texas church shooting happen? Ooh, ouch, ouch. That's a that's a thing. You made a comment, man. That was a stage shoot. Jesus, come on, guys. Yeah, Good walks in there and guns down like 27 people or however many people died in that shooting. I lost count after a while, and that was all for, that year. As Stan says in South Park, can't evolution be the answer to the how and not to the why? Perhaps. It's a way of looking at it. Okay. Let's, okay, cool. Jarbology. Buttcoin is a new LGBT crypto token. Yes. If you believe in Jarbology, please press the like button on this video. Seriously, Trey, we got 178 people. Let's try to get me to 100 likes tonight. Just 100 likes. Oh, it needs 49 more, baby. 49. Smash on that like you would crush your grandmother's vagina for that inheritance. I'm talking what? No, I'm kidding. What's my thoughts on magic is just a form of science man doesn't understand yet? That would be cool. I don't know. I can't explain all that shit. I would like magic to be real, though. Have I thought about Bitcoin mining in the long term? Oh, God, no. No. The Masons did loot boxes. Oh, wow. So, we know. I like I really enjoy the commentary about religion in the chat. Would a priest of Jarbology pass around a collection basket labeled donate to my Patreon, followed by turn off that pesky ad block? Probably. Random last name says, I have some serious issues. Are you new here? So, see, sometimes I feel I'm here to make you happy. Am I doing a good job? Cytotron, you do a fine job, but focus more on you, man. You being here touches my heart and my soul, and I appreciate that, but I want you to do you. So this chat has gone to shit. This chat always goes to shit, man. Everything. Tell me a chat on a live stream that never doesn't go to shit. Right? You just can't. You can't do it, man. You can't do it. Yeah, the bit miners. I bought those graphics cards. I know, for driving up the price. I thought about upgrading to the 1080 or whatever the new one is sometime during this year, but I don't think I'm going to. It's just it's literally not worth it at this point. At this particular point in time. So let me see here. Somebody posted. What do they send me here? Some article someone just sent me. Let me take a look. Ah, balls. Okay, come on. Okay, I could probably hold that for tomorrow. And okay, for some reason, goddamn stupid YouTube. Well, it doesn't even really matter. I might have screwed up that. Okay, let's get into some stories because we've been on for a while. Let's get into the context here because I think that would be for the very best. Okay. Nothing more polarizing than religion and Bitcoin miners. Probably. A GTA live stream because it's constantly crap. I need to play GTA online again. Apparently, I read an article today that said that was the #1 selling game or #1 digital game in 2017 was that, which is insane. So, hold on, I want to add some more moderators in, some people that are good. All right, I know, gotta put on my chapstick. I'm gonna look like Joe Kennedy III from last night, huh? The stream, purebred chaos, the stream got into it got to where it got to because I got this long email that just totally derailed everything I wanted it to do. So okay, we're going to all right, there we go. Let's jump into the first story here because it will be an interesting one to say the very least. Because gotta love stuff about porn. My dad was over today and made a comment to me. He's like, why is it every time we talk about porn you have to laugh? And I'm all like, just because, Dad. Oh shit, where the fuck that go? Oh god damn it. Hold on. Oh, I'll find it afterward. Okay. One of the stories I wanted to talk about is not in here. So let's do it to it. Snappity snap. Carrie, this is for you. This is for you, Carrie. Snaps for traps. All right. Porn. Gotta love it, man. Porn is probably the one thing that keeps hotels from offering free Wi-Fi. I mean, I'm being like serious there. Hotels tend to use porn as a way to keep their Wi-Fi prices high because they know that if you're just there for a night and you just want to get access to the internet, you're going to whack off to some free stuff and then not actually pay for it. And they want to nickel and dime you basically like everybody else. And for that, you can't really fault them, right? You can't fault them. It's capitalism. But the Pornhub, my beloved Pornhub. I mean, what? No, huh? Will now know everything about you under the new rules for sex streaming sites. This is where we start feeling like some 1984 stuff, but involving Pornhub. So, sex streaming giant has announced that it will collect data on anyone accessing its porn stash, but it will not record their sexual preferences. Which is weird because they log that information anyway in order to then recommend you particular videos based upon your preferences. Right? Like, I mean, I happened to be perusing it today. for research purposes. I was Ugandan Knuckles apparently had been on there. That's the excuse I'm using. But anyway, they had talked about a thing on there saying, oh, preferences for you based upon previous search history. I don't know how that happened. Someone else must be using my Wi-Fi in order to access it. But the point is that they had certain things on there that were aimed at things that I had already looked at, or someone else had already looked at. So the point is that they still do all this kind of stuff. They still check it. So them saying they're not recording it is kind of, I guess you could say, a lie, because they do definitely like log this information, definitely with cookies and whatnot. Now, MindGeek, the biggest internet pornography company in the world, will collect information, including users' addresses and ages, under new age verification laws. I mean, I understand for age verification, but addresses? What? No. The new Digital Economy Act, which means that anyone accessing porn must prove that they are old enough, over 18 in the UK. Firms are currently scrambling to figure out how they will verify ages and could demand the collection of card data or ID documents. Imagine having to send Pornhub a copy of your, I don't know what you would have in the UK. Is it a driver's license? Would it be called a driver's license? I'll have to ask my UK friends, but whatever, your identification proving that you are over the age of 18 so you can then masturbate in peace. This is scary. This is scary. MindGeek, the firm behind adult websites Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube, is not being ordered to store the additional information, but bosses plan to do so. The company, which also owns pornography production studios, including Brazzers, will use a verification system called Age ID, by which a user can create a login and use a third-party mechanism to prove they're over the age of 18. MindGeek will then charge other pornography sites to use a solution. So they're essentially creating the lock and then selling the key. Because Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube, especially Pornhub, and this video is going to be so demonetized anyway, because of all that, they're going to have access to lots of this information. Now, they start restricting that from people, that is going to be a problem. That's just going to drive people to go someplace else. It's not like you can't go get porn for free. For those of you who are over the age of 18, which I think is like 98% of my audience, there are websites for this. You can just Google the big list of porn or tlbop.com. And I didn't tell you that. You didn't hear it from me. But you don't have, I mean, I understand wanting to age restrict it. I get that. You don't want kids that are like 13 and, well, you don't want kids that are really young looking this kind of stuff up. Are they going to anyway? Probably, because it's the internet and they're going to hear about it from their friends. We've all been there. For me, it was like Penthouse magazine. Like, hey, you see the one where this chick poured bleach on her cooter? It was an issue of Penthouse. I'm sure it was water in a bleach bottle, but she still was squatting over a sink, pouring it on her cooter. Not saying I jerked off to it, just saying that it was there. So anyway, a spokesperson for MindGeek told Sky News, Age ID has been built from the ground up with data protection, data minimization, and the principles of privacy by design at its core, whilst also complying with the GDPR. This is why we do not store any personal data entered during the age verification process. Due to encrypted nature of Age ID's login credentials, such data cannot be exposed in the unlikely event of a hack. So how are they going to then make sure that you have properly vetted your age if it's not being stored? So I don't know, man. I don't know. When it comes into force, the UK will be the first democratic country in the world to require users to provide their age in order to access porn. Despite MindGeek suggesting that tens of millions of people will sign up to it, the Age ID system is likely to put some off because of the data it stores. The program will find names, postal addresses, nationalities, dates, places of birth, email addresses, mobile phone numbers, and demographic information of its users. The firm notes that this information can be used by Age ID to develop and display content and advertising tailored to your interests on our website and other sites. Holy God! None of that is good. Look, there is an unwritten rule when it comes to pornography on the internet. You don't got to share that information. So it says that it's going to find everything about you except for the stuff that you're into. But then it's going to be able to tailor stuff to your liking. There's a whole bunch of doublespeak here. And that is scary. Because here's the thing. This is happening in the UK, not happening in the United States, or not happening in Canada, but this kind of moral panic could take shape here if pressure is on enough. And we have a government that is not 100% like I would say authoritarian to push this stuff through, But I mean, if we start going back to the values of God and Jesus and the Bible here in the United States, then they could sit there and try to run again on what I'm only going to call the white epidemic, or the pearl white epidemic, or the off-color white epidemic, or just the jizz-edemic. I think it doesn't have much of a ring to it, but I think white epidemic works because it's just like, you know, semen is white or pearly. I don't know. If you have a better idea, let me know in the comments. But the point there is that, like, this could be used as something else that is bad, and I don't like it one damn bit. I'm not a fan. I think this is scary, and it should not go into effect, but it's going to, and it's going to spread to Pornhub, which ultimately pulls in the most traffic, and it's going to be used at YouPorn and at RedTube. Again, sites that pull in a lot of traffic. Brazzers is extremely popular. You've got Spank Bang, which is probably going to start using it as well because they're going to want to get in on that action for being able to get that information on their users in order to better tailor ads to them, considering the fact that most of the people who go to these websites use ad block, which I hope you turn off for my videos when you watch them once you're done on those horrible, despicable, terrible websites. But you guys get what I'm saying here. You guys get this. This is freaky to me. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I can't support it. And I hope people in the UK fight back. But the problem is going to come in the form of someone wanting to be Helen Lovejoy. Ultimately, the problem is going to come in from someone who walks up there with a bullhorn or a megaphone or a microphone or something. Hell, and knowing our luck, it would just be a feminist on Twitter, a sex-negative feminist like what, Gail Simone or something, whatever her name is, and go out there and be all like, won't somebody, please, please, think of the children. And then that's going to create a moral panic. And one of the reasons that led to this particular age ID thing going through, we don't need authoritarianism when it comes to our pornography. People are always going to find a way to masturbate. People are always going to find a way to access it. And all it's going to do is push people who don't want to be on a list, don't want to have their data collected, more so than just like their location and their preferences. We're talking like your email address, your phone number, your home address, your nationality, your date of birth. I mean, and then all under the guise of, well, this is all super encrypted. This is all totally encrypted. There's no way anyone would remotely be able to get on in here and hack this if they were able to get in and hack it. It's all encrypted. You're not gonna be able to find it. I don't buy that mega.com BS here, man. I don't buy it one damn bit. All right, this has the makings to me of the next freaking Ashley Madison. Just imagine if they're lying about, you know, about the data encryption, because if they're selling off that data, see, here's the thing, if they're selling off that data to third-party companies in order to then tailor advertisements and your age ID number or whatever to get you access to these sites, then they're still going to have that information on. So there's clearly things happening here that are contradictory. And it's like that law that was being looked at in, I want to say Tennessee, where if you wanted to access pornography, you had to pay $20 to register your ISP or your IP number with the city in order to be able to get access to it. That is, again, frightening. Not as frightening as this. Bad. This is bad. And I hope people in the UK fight back, because there's one thing Americans love. It's their guns and their porn. And if you come for either, you will be barking up a very, very bad tree. Holy crap, man. That is nuts to me. That is just insane to me. That's how bad it's gotten. What in the hell? There, like, we just have, we live in a very weird world, folks, at this point in time. Clearly there's a problem. You can get Richard Robertson. You can go to mundanematt.com/submit, or my business email is themundanematt@gmail.com, which works out. You can go there. It's perfectly fine. Okay, that is just Jesus. Okay, so let's jump into the next one here because I want to breeze through this stuff. That's why H3H3 said download all the porn. Yep. Where's Carrot? I don't know where Carrot is. I don't know. I'll tell you this thing about porn, though. There's so much pornography in the world that I probably couldn't tell you what I looked at like 3 days ago. Or yesterday. You know? No, I could. I'm not going to, but I could. Now that I think about it. Yeah. It's some scary shit. It is. Deep web for porn. Aka Asian says I shouldn't masturbate every day. As a male over the age of 30, it's actually quite good for my prostate. So it is actually me doing something for self-care. That's my argument. Okay, let's jump over to this next one here. Remember, snaps for traps, guys. Snaps for traps. I just saw that comment. Porn makes being single bearable. That's true. That's so true. All right. Work face, because I'm recording. Bullying has always been a major problem. It has been. As a person out there who was bullied quite a bit when I was a kid, it's not something I wish on anyone, and especially not my daughter growing up. And then people on the internet, man, they can be super mean. All right, like you cry in one unboxing video, and apparently it's like a mockery for like 2 years. The point is, people can be dicks, people are bullies, and it sucks. So when someone stands up to them, at least through any way that they can think of that might have a positive impact, you figure it would be championed, it would be applauded. But in this particular case, a teen was suspended from high school after her anti-bullying video hurts the principal's feelings. So she bullied the principal? I watched this video earlier, and I did not see anything in there that was really going to hurt the principal's feelings unless that principal was just like a very sad person. So it says here that Lebanon, Tennessee, a Tennessee high school student's anti-bullying video has resulted in nearly 600,000 views on YouTube and a suspension for its creator. At this point, she should be capitalizing on that. You know, like, I had a viral video, bow, 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 right? No. Lebanon high school student Emily Gibson said school administrators accused her of trying to incite violence and gave her a 2-day in-school suspension for a video entitled "Welcome to Lebanon High School," posted January 22nd. So she's trying to incite violence because she was making a video about anti-bullying. To quote Dusty Smith, logic? Really? No, it doesn't work that there. But it's stupid. I believe we all are in agreement of that. In the video, prompted by a classmate's October suicide, she asked students to treat each other better. It's a broad indictment of campus culture, but contains neither profanities nor calls for direct answer or action, which is true. She was talking about, how we do need to be better to one another, and that it can have an impact on students how you bully them. I mean, teen suicide is a thing. It's been a thing for a long time. It's been amplified via social media. Have you ever seen the Disney, or was it ABC Family movie Cyberbully with Haley Joel Osment? Actually, it's pretty good. I recommend it. It's on Netflix. But the point is, it's like, it can have an impact. It says here, welcome to Lebanon High School, where smiles are fake and suicide prevention is something to laugh at. Because oftentimes students, high schoolers, look, you got hormones, you're younger, the stuff's raging. It makes it very difficult at some point in time to you feel like you're getting the right answer, because it's like it doesn't click right away. So maybe that's one of the things that happen here. She says she criticizes her peers' reaction to the Stop It app the Wilson County School had put out in response to the death. So in response to a teen suicide from October, the school decided to put out an application on your phone, an anti-suicide application. Wow. Talk about doing something highly, 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 highly just impersonal, right? Like oftentimes suicide prevention is put on by someone who cares about the potential victim, and they listen to that person who loves them and is able to talk them down, or anyone out there who even remotely seems to give a crap. If someone were to hand me my phone and say like, oh, by the way, there's an anti-suicide application on here, you may want to give it a shot, I would be like, wow, thanks a lot, bitch. Because that will do nothing to stop me in the moment. I need to check my phone. What does the app say? I'm good enough. I'm strong enough. And gosh darn it, people like me. No, wait, that's Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live. Anyway, her ire was not restricted to students, however. Perhaps the harshest words in Gibson's free verse speech were reserved for school administration. In this case, this girl was speaking truth to power, absolutely. Posters say smile and be happy, but how am I supposed to be happy in a world, no, in a community where creativity is put down, where the people who make fun of others never get punished because there's no proof? There's nothing that we can do about it, or my favorite, kids will be kids. Now, there are problems and arguments can be made against those things. For one, there is no proof. That is a tough one to disseminate. When you've got accusations that get made, people want there to be proof. It becomes a problem. You could say just record the other person, but then there's privacy laws, and I don't know if Tennessee is a two-party state. It can break into some seriously bad areas, but at the same time, it'd be like kind of roll with the buddy system and get another eyewitness out of that. Kids will be kids is definitely one that does get used quite a bit, because kids like to torment other kids. They like to find the weakest person and torment them. That is true. But the kids will be kids ultimately is just a deflection rather than a condemnation of the act, which is unfortunate. So it says, so let's summarize. We're expected to come to this emotional prison every day. We're expected to forgive the bullies because the authorities are sure they didn't mean it. Sometimes I wonder how many kids it takes dying to make a difference. Those are pretty harsh words. But at the same time, a person who is a bully, if it's a one-off thing, okay, it's kind of like how many times are bullies or kids who commit suicide from bullying, is it more of a death by 1,000 cuts versus anything else, right? It's just that constant barrage by many different people. So it's hard to pinpoint precisely who was a person who would be responsible for the straw that broke the camel's back. And that is, there's no easy answer to that. There's no way to, I think, quantify it or even really identify it. But I get what she's saying here, because if the authorities kind of, say that the bullies didn't really mean it, it does, you could say, minimize the impact of the words that they used, or the impact of the punishment, so to speak. But again, how many times are bullies kids that are lashing out because their own life sucks and they're just mad about where they are in their own life? So that's one of those things that just that makes it a problem. And again, these are extremely nuanced discussions that this YouTube video clearly is not the right place to have them. But at the same time, you want to look at it and think to yourself, yeah, this could be something that should be discussed. Principal Scott Walters told the Lebanon Democrat he can't discuss the 16-year-old's punishment, but he said he took issue with the fact that the free verse speech was recorded in a classroom without a teacher's permission. Gibson disputed that, saying she had two coaches' permission. Oh, see, this is where I'm. Oh, by the way, I just wanted this to be clear. I'm totally on the 16-year-old girl side here. Okay, free speech for one, talking truth to power for two, standing up to people who are bullies and kind of like, like letting it rain back down on them. Like, here's some emotions, bitch. Like, I get that, and I'm on board with that. Principal Scott Walters here also says that the videos hurt his feelings and those of teachers too. Oh, I'm sorry, Principal Scott Walters. Would you like a Kleenex, or would you like a friendly pat on the back, to something to wipe away those tears? What? A 16-year-old girl's free verse from a classroom, talking about how she feels about the institution of which you are responsible for, hurts your fifi, so you give her a 2-day in-school suspension? That is like the most bitch move ever. Like, seriously. That is like Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter is less of a bitch than you, sir. That's saying something. He says he's received feedback from parents and students who didn't agree with the video, including a gift from a student who told him he was doing a good job. He also said people could learn from Gibson's viewpoint. So, okay, but I love this there. So he says people should learn from Gibson's viewpoint, but he gave her a 2-day in-school suspension for her viewpoint. Come on, man. 1-800, come on now. This is some stuff. This is some shit. I can appreciate the perspective of the video, he says. Of course, she's 16 and her perspective is going to be different from mine. Yeah, she lives in the prison of which you are the warden of. So, of course, her experience is going to be different. Kenneth Gibson, her grandfather and guardian, said that the principal told him the only reason the teen was punished was because she didn't have permission to take the video on school grounds. Saying, I don't have a problem with that. She violated their policies, he said, told the Associated Press. But if she says that she had, you know, permission of 2 coaches to film in the classroom, then that should completely make that argument benign and that charge go away. But at the same time, 600,000 views and a lot of heat down on the school and the principal, those coaches are probably going to be like, fake news, fake news. And I understand that they want to make sure that their jobs are protected. But Gibson, her grandfather, said he is proud of his granddaughter for expressing herself, as he should be, as we all should be. Whether you agree with how she said it, and it's not the most professional thing on the planet, it would never be entered into a slam poem contest and win, but at the same time, her emotion and her passion comes through. And as Dr. Wayne Dyer, a spiritual counselor, once said, and I love this quote, he says that people buy your music, not your words. And so in that particular notion, yeah, I completely buy her music, 100%. And I'm glad that she spoke out. More people need to. One of the biggest problems when it comes to teen suicide is the thought of being alone, feeling isolated. A lot of kids don't want to speak up or say nothing, and this is something good. Now, it says here, I applaud her for taking a stance. She's speaking against something that is obviously an issue in today's society, today's schools especially. I don't have a problem with the videos at all. I wish she hadn't done the first one the way she did inside the classroom. But as far as the message goes, I'm all for the message. I think she's done a great job in bringing to light a very sensitive and needed subject, which I agree. He also says her punishment is worth the good she feels the video has produced. Yeah, 2 days in ISS, man. I've done that before. It's nothing. It's like an extended detention. You hang out, you work on a project. You know what she should do in 2 days of ISS, man? She should sit there and, you know, I don't know, plot out her next video. Right? Then she posted another spoken word poem on YouTube titled, Have I Made a Difference Yet? Urging teenagers like her to speak up. Saying, I never knew that it would get this big, and through it getting this big, I've learned a lesson. This is not my school. This is everyone's school. This is a national problem. And I totally agree. I totally agree. It's one of those things where I would really hope that more people would ultimately stand up, would ultimately speak out about this issue. As a person who was bullied quite a bit in high school, elementary school, middle school, and high school, I understand the plight. I understand the kids will be kids, and the you know, that they didn't really mean it, that mentality that ultimately does nothing for not only your self-worth, but your self-esteem. And you feel like no one's listening to you, and you feel like no one is there to help you. And that is not a good feeling. And that can, in fact, lead to the tragic event with the student taking her own life back in October. So this girl here, Emily Gibson, I would say, you know, unequivocally, I would say that she's definitely a hero. She's done something good. It's brought some national attention, some spotlight on her, and she can continuously try to make a difference. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that's all we can really ask for. That was good, man. That was good. I thought she did a good job. Oh, Tobes, thanks very much for the $10, man. I didn't see that even come through. Yeah, by the way, Streamlabs does that now. No, Corey Taylor, I'm not going to cry tonight. So, I don't, unless you got a gold play button. Baphomet Reborn, why are you talking about Boogie2988 and having sex with him in the chat? Look, I understand Boogie's a lovely man with a very lovable face. But your fantasies are your fantasies, sir, and this is not the right place for them. So, the principal's afraid of kids fighting back. Yep, I agree. So, I completely agree with that. RJ, the calls last night, I was having technical issues. It was really screwing up for me. So we'll try it again probably next week or something. Thoughts on the award being taken away from the creator of the Atari and given to women? I read that article. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you, man. I don't know how I feel. I feel like it's one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, it's just one of those weird things where, like, I understand why they did it. I don't agree with why they did it, but his response is like, "Yeah, you know what? If it helps out, it helps out." Like he doesn't care. So there's that. Do I think a small amount of bullying is necessary to strengthen people for the real world? No, man. You don't build people up by tearing them down and then not helping them rebuild. Bullying is a one-way prospect. It's never, you never bully someone to the point of where they're at their breaking point and then you know, magically help them rebuild themselves. You walk away to your next target. That's what you do. So the person is left to rebuild themselves. I mean, would you call a drill instructor in the military a bully? Some would, but their job is to tear you down to your base elements and then rebuild you as a tougher, more capable person. I'm not saying that, you know, these kids need drill instructors, but they need someone that would nurture them to a stronger standpoint, because you can have compassion and also nurture people. That's not a problem. So there's what's going on with Kekistan? Kekistan under attack again? Do we need a hashtag free Kekistan or save Kekistan? You may want to go and contact Jeff Holiday. I'm sure he can make a video on that one. The thing is purebred chaos. You can sit there and like Trump style for that, but ultimately it's moot. He can trigger the lefties until they freak out, but guess what? The pendulum eventually switches back the other direction, right? And once that happens, it's you know, gonna go back the other way and stuff. So have I ever watched lesbian lactation porn? Look, I'm not gonna answer that one. I mean, I'm sure I've seen something like that at some point in time on the internet. It's a lot of weird stuff that flows around 4chan. So let's just leave it at that. Do I think student nonviolent conflict is necessary? I would say debates of ideas. Sure. So I don't know Brad Jones from Cinema Snob. The allegations are literally owning a book, having a group meeting in a hot tub, and designing a joystick that looked like boobs. Wasn't he wearing a shirt that said "I like to fuck" and like named what's it called? It was named oh, what was it? It was like, it's something I read about. Again, I read the article. I don't know. You have to send me an article on it, and I'll take a look. I'll take a look. Actually, it might be on the next, not the next one I want to do, but one of the ones after that. So, yeah, of course I'm a baller, Kekistan. You know, what's that? I'm a baller, shot collar, 20-inch rims on the Impala, collar, getting laid tonight. Can we start a Matt X Boogie group in Discord? You tweet. Someone should write a /fic about that and then tweet it to Boogie. No, I don't know, Chelsea. I just saying, like, the article I read was like he wore like "I like to fuck" shirt or something. I don't know. So I don't know. The best lactation porn is in Me, Myself, and Irene. Man, that's a good movie. Does The Last Jedi count as lactation porn? A little bit. Yeah, a little bit, man. A little bit. Sure. Elite QB. Yeah. I'd argue a little bit. Yeah. Definitely. Who is Gundam? I don't know who that is. If Gundam mentioned me in a recent video, I have no idea who that is. Is that the world-class bullshitters or whatever? Because they're like on this tirade against me right now because I'm apathetic to parts of Star Wars. Like, they're trying to call me a shill or something. Like I'm a paid Disney shill or something. Like, okay. This is the weird thing when you get to a point and you do YouTube long enough, people, they develop really odd theories about you. So here's the thing that people, not everyone on the left is a snowflake. The squeaky wheel gets the grease in many cases, but not everyone on the left is a snowflake. You'd be amazed at how many angry progressives there are out there that want to fight back, but they're also marred and blocked by these snowflakes. And yeah, they need to get rid of them, but they're also, you know, Democrats, and so they're fucking whatever. Don't read a slash fic about that, or doomed to read it for loud for money. Fuck, dude, I would pay a dude to like read a fucking phone book, man. A Jeep pie is a shill, not me. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Bookie's alive, and why do people still say that he's dead? People right now, like, he's going through a divorce, which is unfortunate, and I think that's led to some questionable things that I've seen some reference to. So there's that. All right, let us jump into the next one here. So yeah, I don't know who this Gundam person is, but you're gonna have to like just like DM me or something on whatever on Discord, and let me know. Okay, let's jump into this one here. All right, get that right there. Like, I like having the title right front prominent. Harry Potter, a franchise that ended over a decade ago now, is still popular. It's a good series. I like the series quite a bit. But one of the biggest points of contention I've always had is the Dumbledore is gay thing. I never liked how it went about it. I never liked how J.K. Rowling made it a thing. And not that I'm against Dumbledore being gay, but it felt like some weird twisted fan service after the fact. Like when she was, a couple years ago, she was tweeting about how Harry and Hermione should have gotten together instead of Harry and Ginny. You know, she was like, that should have been the thing. And ultimately, I think she says that, or she said that at the time, I feel, because she wanted Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson to get together because they're a cuter couple, which basically means that she's treating the later years of the Harry Potter kids very similar to E.L. James and the characters from Twilight. Or Stephanie Meyer and her characters from Twilight, that she is 100% absolutely in love with Edward Cullen. Yeah, anyway. But the new movies, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, are going to be featuring a younger Albus Dumbledore played by Jude Law, and he's going to be main character. It's going to be around his journey to fight Grindelwald, and the subject matter of whether or not he's gay came up. And apparently, fans are not happy with the response from the director because he very much approached it like she did in the books. It was a non-issue, and they're mad that it's not going to be front and center in the movies. So it says here that in the wake of Fantastic Beasts director David Yates drawing steep backlash online with his comment about Professor Albus Dumbledore's sexuality, J.K. Rowling has shared her take on the matter. During an interview with Entertainment Weekly that was published on Wednesday, Yates said that Dumbledore won't explicitly be gay in the upcoming second installment of the Fantastic Beasts franchise, The Crimes of Grindelwald, just as Dumbledore in the first 6 books in Harry Potter wasn't also explicitly gay. Now, if you remember, there was a huge controversy roughly a year ago when it came out that, that was it not Gaston, but the other dude, Josh Gad's character from Beauty and the Beast was going to be explicitly gay, and he had a very beautiful gay scene in the movie, and it sent like the hardcore right, man, the evangelicals or whatever, they went nuts, they went crazy. I mean, it got so bad that the movie was banned in Russia because of the one gay scene. Oh no, they said he had an exclusively gay scene. You know what it was ultimately? There was another guy earlier in the movie that got shot with a dresser that turned him into a chick, and everyone else kind of freaked out, but he was like, oh, I like this. And then at the end of the movie, that guy and Josh Gad's character, whose names I can't remember right now, had a dance scene where they kind of connected and they looked at each other and there was a smile. That's fast. It wasn't an exclusively gay scene. All right. It wasn't like, hey, let's play hide the salami, right? Can you go balls deep in my armoire, sort of thing. That never happened, but people still lost their mind over it anyway. It was a benign, innocuous scene. Something like that's happening here. People aren't too happy about that. Now, he says here, I think all the fans are aware of Dumbledore's sexuality. He had a very intense relationship with Grindelwald when they were young men. They fell in love with each other's ideas, ideology, and each other. So what you've got is you've got Albus Dumbledore, and so Jude Law and Johnny Depp, right, are straight up at some point, previously at some point, totally madly in love with each other's wands. That's essentially what they're saying here, and that is not going to be reflected in the movie. Based on the example I just gave you, it pretty much explains as to why it's not happening. Some fans took to Twitter to express their objections with the remark, prompting Rowling to weigh in. This person here, Connor Goldsmith, says, not explicitly, Yates replied when asked if the film makes clear that Dumbledore is gay, but I think all the fans were aware of that, saying, it's 2018, LMAO, get it together. I don't know, in 2007 is when she made the claim that Dumbledore was gay without ever previously mentioning it in the book. In fact, this tweet here from Lucy, I think, summarizes it pretty funnily. She says here, J.K. Rowling, Dumbledore is gay, LOL. Fans, okay, but you didn't put that in the source material. J.K.R. I know, LOL. That pretty much is what it was. 10 years later, fans, okay, you've got a chance to put it in canon now. JKR, hee, I know. Fans, so are you gonna? JKR, no. It's true. But you got to understand it's not that Hollywood is against having gay characters or gay characters that are in children's films. But if they go into the idea, the concept of this particular relationship, of these two, okay, the way I viewed it from this kind of leading into this moment was it's kind of like Magneto versus Professor X, with Dumbledore is Professor X, and Grindelwald is Magneto, and they both wanted this world to be a thing, and ultimately, again, horseshoe theory, two sides, same coin sort of situation. And in the meantime, they played with each other's wands and did Wingardium Leviosa. They wanted to make it lift. Anyway, so it goes on to say that being sent abuse about an interview that didn't involve me, this is from J.K. Rowling, about a screenplay I wrote, but which none of the angry people have read, which is part of a 5-movie series that's only one installment in, is obviously tons of fun. But what's even more fun? Tweeting a gif of rapper Lil Uzi Vert clicking the mute button on a remote, which basically just looks like this, just mute. And that's people are upset about this. They are. They're upset over something that I guess, like, maybe as a straight white man, I don't really see there being an issue with. These are characters in the book. If you know the character is gay, then that's fine. If you know the character is gay, then that's something that is not going to impact the story. Right? But then you always hear the comeback to that, and the comeback is always representation matters. Okay, I get that. There was a lot of people that went off about the opening of The Last Jedi, where the bomber scene happened, and the one girl, does her badass cool chick moment before, and they called that a badass person of color moment, right? Is what Jen Yamato from, I think, Hollywood Reporter or something said. And I just had to laugh at that. I'm all like, so you're not equating her sacrifice to her being a human. You're really wanting to tie it into identity politics. And the same thing applies here. All right. We're not living in an age where there are no gay characters on screen. We're not living in an age where there are no gay characters in literature or television or whatever. One of my favorite on-screen relationships actually came from True Blood, I think season 3, between guy Jesus and the chef dude, the guy who passed away. Why do I forget names tonight? But they had one of the best relationships. Yes, they were gay, but the relationship was a very heartfelt, emotional relationship. The actors brought it to the screen, and it was handled in a way that didn't feel like it was pandering. At this point, given the audience's reaction to this, it feels like if the filmmakers did in fact kowtow to pressure, they would put it in. They would very much, they would, if they want to do that. But keep in mind, it's like this. These people are never happy. These are the same kind of people that were upset that Johnny Depp was cast in the movie. Never mind all of the accusations made against him from his ex-wife Amber Heard and everything else. So there was a big pushback about that. J.K. Rowling said they're happy with the casting. David Yates is like, Johnny Depp has been a dream to work with. He's a great guy, yada, 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 yada. Again, when it comes to dealing with the left like this, you're dealing with the regressive left, you're dealing with the snowflakes, you're dealing with these people. They don't want to ever hear that they're not being listened to. They really, 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 really hate that. And that's a lot of what's happening here. So basically, from what I can interpret for that J.K. Rowling had said, is that, yes, there are in fact going to, this is a 5-part series. In this particular story, we're not getting the gay part. Now, the gay part could come later, right? The gay part could come later, or it could not come at all. I mean, ultimately they could tie it in. If there's still 4 more movies to go, ultimately, then there's a lot of time left for, to hear about the stories of Albus and Grindelwald playing hide the salami. You know what I mean? Or something along those lines. So I just find it funny that people are getting upset at quite literally nothing, or to be more realistic, they're getting upset at something that they obviously haven't read yet, but yet seem to know everything about. Oh, no, that pretty much summarizes most people on the internet. So yeah, okay. Look, myself included. I can't sit there and make a dig at that and not put myself in there. I think we all can be like that sometimes. But at the same time, the way J.K. Rowling handled the reveal of this information. If you, I know I'm going over on this story, but hear me out. 2007, Deathly Hallows came out. Everyone read it. It was like a month later. She's at a book signing in New York. She's she's reading from the book, taking questions and answers from the audience. Someone asked the question, hey, why is it that we never heard about Dumbledore's wife, or we never heard about Dumbledore having a girlfriend or being in a relationship? I'm paraphrasing. And then she just goes, oh, it's because Dumbledore's gay. Like that. Like, just boom. Like, just drops this hammer, this bombshell. Everyone lost their shit at that moment in time over it. And ultimately led to nothing because, as I pointed out in that tweet, there was nothing ever in the source material for it. In the canon of the books, at least. And that's been one thing that fans have held on to. So you have to ask yourself, did J.K. Rowling make Dumbledore gay because he was always gay in her mind? Or did she make him gay because, well, in 2007, Proposition 8 was coming up, was a big thing being talked about. Representation wasn't really happening in the way that I think what we've seen today. Gay marriage wasn't legal. That didn't happen for a few more years. And it makes me wonder if she just made that comment, never thinking she was ever going to go back into the franchise. And now that she's there, she's like, crap, I got to pander to these people that I lied to all those years ago in order to score good political points with the left. Yeah. We'll write a Brokeback Mountain scene for the 3rd one, I promise. I'm just saying. There's a lot there that's happened. There's a lot there that's gone on with it. It's they won't be happy until every woman character is trans, disabled, gay, black woman in a burqa. Or she made him gay and chose not even bring it up. That's fine too. You are right. You are right. But I just feel like the way she made us think about it after the fact is my take on it. So, just like the one guy that says said that Rogue One was anti-Trump propaganda. Yeah, that's good old Jack Posobiec. Good old Jack Posobiec. No, AW, no, you're right. AW, you are absolutely right. Your sexuality doesn't have to be everything about you, precisely. But we live in the age where if you want to tack on that L, that G, that B, that T, that Q, that I, that A, that 2 plus spirit, 3, I don't know what it is. I'm making a rhyme out of nothing at this point. But ultimately, yeah, it's true. You don't want to, you don't want your sexuality to define everything about you, but sadly, according to the left, that's what a lot of time what happens is it's not that you make it about you, it's that they make it about you. So then Ken Darkness here says, next gay porn, fantastic cock and where to put it. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being a gay porno. I should write that and then sell it off to the gay porn industry because clearly Clearly, I need it. So we'll have to wait and see. And I still think Black Panther is going to be good. I think Black Panther is going to be pretty top notch, man. I'm down for it. Okay, let's go in. We got 2 more to get through. We've been streaming now for an hour and a half. So I think it's going pretty good. I got the next one here. Will be a lot of fun for those of you who really, really dislike Star Wars. Sorry, I'm waiting here if my baby is waking up. She's still good. Okay. Snap, 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 snap. Oh, man. As a Star Wars fan, as evidenced by my t-shirt and the fact that I talk a lot about Star Wars, I was really, really, really hopeful that Star Wars Battlefront 2 would not run into the same pitfalls that the first one did. And ultimately, while I have enjoyed my time with the game, I understand why a lot of people didn't like it. I get it. I felt that the mechanics were good, the gameplay was good, but the loot system did require some more explanation and ultimately could have been handled a better way. And when EA decided that they were going to get rid of microtransactions as a way to appease the crowd, because this is a big game that should have sold very, very, very well, it was kind of doomed from the start, to be perfectly fair. Now, a couple months later, we're seeing that Star Wars Battlefront 2 sold worse than EA expected. Now, it says that Electronic Arts has announced during its quarterly earnings conference call that Star Wars Battlefront 2 sold less than 1 million copies, which is less than what EA had projected sales to reach. Now, 1 million copies, 1 million units of the game, that has nothing to do with the digital copies. I don't know how many that is. I've heard upwards of like 7 million, but I could be wrong. Again, it shipped... It sold less than 1 million retail. And a game like that was probably going to be one that was downloaded pretty heavily too. Especially given the fact that they had all the different versions and stuff. Now it says the following information regarding Star Wars Battlefront 2 moving less than 1 million units comes from investor.ea.com. During this quarterly earnings conference call, Chief Executive Officer Andrew Wilson and Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen explained how DICE's Star Wars Battlefront 2 shipped less than 1 million copies between October and December 2017. Microtransactions is mentioned as potential avenues to make up for the lack of sales, with Wilson saying that live services, including optional digital monetization when done right, can provide a very important element of choice. Look, they got rid of microtransactions as a way to appease the audience. And I get, well, they had said that they would come back at a future date. They were just trying to get people locked and loaded, get them in, get them addicted to the gameplay itself, and then later on sneak back in the microtransactions in order to recoup previous losses. Well, yeah, this one is not doing much better. Adding it back in now is just basically admitting defeat. Jorgensen followed up on Wilson's statement about live services and explained that Star Wars Battlefront 2 did not do well, but the microtransaction service significantly exceeded them. I'm not too sure what that means, but okay. The sad part about this is that EA already knew that the game was going to underperform and that microtransactions would compensate in the long run, which is why EA could remove microtransactions from the game during launch and made mention that it had no impact on its financial outlook, saying that on November 16, 2017, Electronic Arts announced in a blog that it would turn off in-game purchases for Star Wars Battlefront 2 until further notice. This change is not expected to have a material impact on EA's fiscal year 2018 financial guidance, basically meaning that they were already doing well enough as it is. And ultimately EA bounced back pretty big. Their stocks had dropped off heavily after the controversy from the game, and then it spiked like in one day. It spiked right back up. I don't know what caused it, but that's what happened. In other words, EA knew to play on the weak will to compensate on a title that would sell less, taking advantage of microtransaction services in other games. This also lets us know that microtransactions can pull in money very quickly and exceed that of any major / fast-selling title due to its short time up, which is true. Now, look, I paid for the deluxe edition of Battlefront 2. I paid for it retail, and I make absolutely no qualms about that. I have no regrets. I like the game. I like the style of gameplay, and I have fun with it. That being said, I know that there have been issues with it. I know that there have been problems. Them bringing back microtransactions on this game is a bad idea. It really is. But at the same time, look at Battlefront 1. Just pointing this out as a devil's advocate situation. Battlefront 1 came out 2015. The game was very vanilla. It wasn't very well received. And then a year later, they'd done enough updates and tweaks on it to make the game a lot better, a lot more fun, and a lot of people enjoyed it. That could probably happen here as well. The biggest downside of that, though, is just the whole microtransactions loot crate system. What they need to do is get rid of that and go back to a straight crafting system, and I think that would probably be a lot better. That would be a lot better. But we're seeing that in other games right now. PUBG has got something similar. I think Fortnite's got something similar. You know, so it becomes a problem. So it says, in other words, it says, according to the Wall Street Journal, Star Wars Battlefront 2 sold 9 million copies and projected to move between 1 and 3 million more units by the end of fiscal 2018. These sales are said to drastically pale in comparison to the 2015 game, which tallied up 14 million by the end of fiscal 2016 after a late 2015 release. That is, we're going from 14 million down to 9 million. That is a significant loss. But that also goes to show you that even though the game itself only sold less than 1 million copies retail, digital is where it's at. And once they got digital, they know you can't sit there and return it if you play more than 2 hours on Steam, or if you play on consoles at all, you're just screwed. So that, of course, was their big play. Their big play was to get you to download the game digitally, and that's actually one of the reasons why I bought the game retail. I also, and this isn't a plug for anything, no sponsorship here, I have the Gamers Club unlocked through Best Buy, so I get 20% off all brand new games. Star Wars Battlefront 2 came with a $10 Best Buy reward card for pre-ordering it and buying it. And so a game, I got 20% off and I got $10 back. So the game ultimately cost me less than retail of the of what it would cost for the base game. So I still got a pretty good deal on it. That's one of the reasons why I didn't really care. I mean, hell, even my copy of Monster Hunter World that I picked up the other day only cost me like $35 because, again, I had that discount and I had gift cards from when I'd bought other games over the course of winter. So if you play your cards right with some of these games, you can actually get them for a pretty cheap amount. However, getting back on subject matter here, looking at the way EA handled the situation, not good. Not at all. Looking at the way the microtransaction system was set up, the loot crate system was set up, the fact that it was going to cost you 60,000 credits to unlock Vader and Luke, that they then dropped by 75% down to 15,000 credits, felt like a good move in the right direction, and ultimately it was, but at the same time, you only get a couple hundred credits per round. So yeah, it takes time to get there. It absolutely takes time to get to that point, and that becomes a big problem. And as a result of that, we find ourselves in the situation, and it sucks because as a Star Wars fan, I want the game to be good. As a Star Wars fan, I want the game to be a success. With the cancellation of 1313 and the visceral Star Wars game being delayed indefinitely, we're not getting much in terms of quality Star Wars games out of EA. I mean, hell, even the developers of Empire at War have gone to EA twice now to pitch a sequel, and EA has turned them down both times. So it becomes frustrating to see this play out in the way that it's playing out. And it basically leads me to only one conclusion at this point. Disney has to look at not only the financial screw up that was Battlefront 2 and how it tied into it underperforming The Last Jedi, granted at $1.3 billion. They need to realize that their gaming side of things is not doing what they needed to do, and ultimately they should probably pull their license from EA and give it to somebody else. However, Respawn Entertainment, that is now basically a subsidiary of EA, said that their Star Wars game won't be ready until roughly around 2020. So we got some time. And in the meantime, we're not going to get anything good gaming-wise from Star Wars. And that really, really sucks because it should not be a thing. But it really, really, really is. Screw you, EA. That's all I can really say. Star Wars is not a money machine. Yeah, no shit. The modding community to breathe new life into Empire at War. That's what I hear, man. My Empire at War lived way past its life based on the good mods. Yeah, and they probably should have taken up on that too. Disney should have given CD Projekt Red the license instead of EA. Oh, I agree. That'd be great, man. So all forms of DLC need to cease. Companies need to go back to making expansions for games. I agree. The thing is, people buy them. People buy the DLC and shit. I don't really buy. I'll buy a season pass sometimes, depending on the game. Like if it's a Bethesda game, I'll buy the season pass because I feel like you get all that extra content and shit. You know, I bought the season pass for Witcher 3. I bought the Ultimate Edition for $100 when it first came out, and then I just rebought the game on the Xbox One X because I got a 4K TV and that's a 4K output. And I was like, oh, it was $20 for the whole thing. Like 2.5 years later, it's $20. So it's like you wait, you get it for cheaper. Yeah, Microsoft is rumored to be buying EA for $50 billion. I did hear about that. I just, I don't know. When is Cyberpunk 2077 coming out? I'm hoping this year. Keck fan, I'm hoping. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be down for that one. So there's that. Okay, here. Let's do the... all right. Let's see. This is a little bit long, but we'll roll through it. We'll roll through this one together. Last one of the night. Last one. Talking about some Bill motherfucking Nye. Yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy and shit. So, okay. And, all right. Sorry, just getting... Cool. Oh, yeah, we got 10 minutes, 10 minutes left of the month. Who wants to help me get to $500 on Patreon? 10 minutes to go. No, I'm kidding. Squad goals. No, you guys have been great tonight. I really appreciate. We need 7 more people. Smash that like. 7 more people to get to 100 likes. Let's do it. Let's do it, dog. Let's do it. All right. Snaps or traps on this one, guys. Last snaps or traps of the night. All right. So Bill Nye the Science Guy has been an interesting figure as of late because for a time he was very much kind of a darling of a certain sect of people on the internet. Probably you could argue those who are in their mid to late 20s, early to mid 30s, maybe a little bit older, who grew up watching Bill Nye the Science Guy. And we've always kind of known him as the bow tie wearing scientist, even though he's really not a scientist. And that's one of those moments that ruined my childhood forever. But here we are. Here we are. We're post 2 seasons into Bill Nye Saves the World. And that song "Love My Sex Junk" that was really out there and did not look good for him at all. But now he's catching a lot of crap from the left because he went to the State of the Union address last night with a Trump nominee, and yeah, scientists were not amused. I'm going to go on a limb before we go into this. I'm just going to take a wild stab in the dark. Is it because Trump never talked about climate change? That could probably be a salty reason. But let's see here. Less than a year ago, Bill Nye was the scientific community's bow tie spirit animal, preparing to lead a legion of scientists in protesting what they called President Trump's assault on science. And I remember that. And I wasn't against it because I feel like the Trump administration doesn't understand science. This is how I feel. As the Washington Post's Caitlin Gibson wrote, before the Nye chaired March for Science, Nye had become more than a zany educator / entertainer who charmed kids with cartoonish sound effects. He's an activist for science, leading those now grown-ups in a political battle. And again, that's not untrue. Many of us who grew up watching him know him as being the science guy. And so when the science guy comes out and says, like, hey, we need to march for science, people are like, yeah, let me get my fucking George Pitt for it. Right? But, no one's not going to be criticized on the internet. Now Nye finds himself in the crosshairs of that same community after many say he spent Tuesday night hobnobbing with the enemy, sitting next to Trump's pick for head of NASA at the State of the Union address. Now, I love this because we are at a weird place politically, societally, I guess you could say. If you are friends with the wrong person, guilty of wrong thing to an extent, it's that one strike you need to be completely ostracized from that community. We've seen this in many cases. Look at Lacey Green and Chris Reagan's relationship. Those two are adorbs together. But when she and him got together and it went public, which I'm going to brag, I had knowledge. Chris told me. Oh, I asked him, he told me beforehand, but they're cute together. And people on the left absolutely lost their mind. They lost their mind over it. Whereas people on our side of things who had been critical of Lacey Green for years met her with open arms. We wanted discussions, wanted to talk, and had a friendly dialogue. That is not something I don't think you're going to get much anymore, but you can clearly see that it's not what happened to Bill Nye. So it says the conflict had been brewing for weeks since the Planetary Society announced that Nye, its CEO, had accepted the invitation to attend the speech with Rep. Jim Bridenstine, whom Trump tapped to lead NASA in September. When a congressman and a current nominee for NASA administrator asks you to be his guest at the State of the Union address, how do you respond? The society said in making the announcement. For us, it was easy. Yes, Bill will be there. Yeah, I mean, look, I may dislike Trump, but if I was hit up and being like, hey, Monday and Matt, you want to go to the State of the Union address, be my guest? I'd be like, yeah, sure. Because honestly, when am I going to be here again? And true, it's a significant event. Regardless of what you think of the person who's speaking, regardless of the orator's opinions and the commander-in-chief's policies, it's still the damn State of the Union. It's a thing. I would love to go. Even the Trump president. The group 500 Women Scientists wrote an editorial in Scientific American. Oh, sorry. What has not been easy has been dealing with the fallout from a decision that has angered a vocal group of people in the scientific community. The group 500 Women Scientists wrote an editorial in a Scientific American that Nye's presence lent credibility to Bridenstine and ostensibly to Trump, despite viewpoints that some say are anti-science. Wow. As scientists, we cannot stand by while Nye lends our community's credibility to a man who would undermine the United States' most prominent science agency. And we cannot stand by while Nye uses his public persona as a science entertainer to support an administration that is expressly xenophobic, homophobic, misogynist, racist, ableist, and anti-science. And again, I do feel like I get their point. I get it. I do understand it. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, really? You know, like, it's not like Bill Nye is getting up there wearing a MAGA hat and saying, like, you know, Trump 2020 or nothing. He's getting up there and he's just going with some guy who invited him. I mean, it'd be good. It's good to be good with the guy who runs NASA, regardless of his politics or whatnot. You could end up being an advisor for him or something. You could get in there, right? Not saying it's just, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, before he entered the Capitol, Nye was engaging in damage control, saying, here, tomorrow night, I will attend the State of the Union as a guest of Congressman Jim Bridenstine, nominee for NASA administrator, who extended me an invitation in my role as CEO of the Planetary Society. The Society is the world's largest and most influential non-governmental, nonpartisan space organization, co-founded by Carl Sagan. While the Congressman and I disagree on a great many issues, we share a deep respect for NASA and its achievements, and a strong interest in the future of space exploration. My attendance tomorrow should not be interpreted as an endorsement of this administration, or of Congressman Bridenstine's nomination, or seen as an acceptance of the recent attacks on science and the scientific community. The U.S. space program has long been a source of American technical achievement, a symbol for our innovative spirit, a source of national pride. There are extraordinary opportunities for our country and for all humanity, and in the continued exploration of space. Historically, the space program has brought Americans together, and during his address, I hope to hear President's plan to continue exploring the space frontier. Which, no, unless the space frontier was the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of MS-13 that have been streaming over the border, you're not really going to get that. But I feel Nye's response, whether you like the guy or don't like the guy, is perfectly fine. It's a valid response. What you've got is a guy who's like, look, I'm going because I'm representing a love of space with the guy who's going to be leading up the space department, NASA, you know, and that's the thing. So it says that Casey Dreyer, Director of Space Policy for the Planetary Society, defended Nye, saying that Nye's attendance at the State of the Union does not endorse Bridenstine's opinions or nomination to head NASA. The society is committed to working with whoever serves in that position, of which they should be. If they're governmental, nonpartisan, it shouldn't matter who's in charge. What should matter is getting out there and reaching those stars, getting to Mars, colony on the moon, man. You know, making low Earth orbit travel more of a realistic thing, because I want to be able to travel from Seattle to Hawaii in 2 hours. I also want to experience weightlessness. Personal bucket list stuff right there. Saying saying space exploration is one of the few areas of politics that still offers significant opportunities for bipartisan reapproachment. A shared passion for space can lay the groundwork for a relationship between individuals of a very different political beliefs, which is true. You know, bipartisanship is the thing. Dreyer also said that some people were misrepresenting Bridenstine's stances, particularly the ones on climate change. As the Post-Christian's Davenport wrote, the congressman walked a fine line on the issue during his confirmation hearing, saying, during the hearing, Bridenstine said he absolutely believes in climate change and that it's already having devastating effects and that humans contribute to it. But he demurred when asked whether human activity was a leading cause, saying more study was needed. In response to questions, he vowed to protect the integrity of NASA's research and to keep it a political organization that should be driven by science, not politics. And I get that. There are a lot of conservatives that I know that absolutely do not believe in climate change. They don't. They refuse to acknowledge that it even exists. They refuse to acknowledge that our planet with over 7 billion people might be having some kind of impact on stuff, right? They refuse to acknowledge that the reason why Oklahoma, a place with no fault lines, is experiencing earthquakes because of fracking, is not a man-made issue. And that is one of the biggest problems that we see coming out of the right. And if you're a conservative, and I'm not attacking you, but a lot of the dogma, the anti-science dogma that comes out is oftentimes, I think it comes from a place where they don't want to change certain things unless it benefits them directly. And ultimately this wouldn't, even though it's going to be beneficial for the long-term survival of our species on this planet. But hey, listen, if they want to start trying to figure out a way to exit this rock and go to some other rock, yeah, man, I'm cool. I played enough space sims. I'm down to colonize another planet. So, as Davenport wrote, a growing chorus of opponents had blasted Bridenstine since his nomination, including fellow House members who say his beliefs, notably opposition to same-sex marriage and the Violence Against Women Act, mean that he is out of step with the mores of NASA. Look, I'm for same-sex marriage, and I don't like the Violence Against Women's Act because it doesn't include men. Or no, it does, but it's in a very, very, very minuscule way. I criticized that a long time ago. So what does that make me? Right? People can have difference of opinions in different places to be. Anyway, but he also garnered the support of industry groups such as the Commercial Spaceflight Federation and Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon. So I'm fine with Bill Nye going. I'm anti-Trump administration. I've made that abundantly clear, but I'm fine with him going. If he wants to establish a solid relationship with what's going to probably be the next head of NASA, that works well for him, and that's where it should be. But the left attacking him and trying to discredit him and go after Bill Nye because of this, these are people that don't understand that in order for progress to be made, it does have to be a bipartisan approach. You have to have unilateral faith in the progression of our species, and that can be viewed from multiple viewpoints provided that the end goal is still the same. Through this kind of difference of opinion can come debate. Through that debate comes compromise, and that compromise then pushes progression. It may not be the best win for either party at any given point in time, but it's the best way we get there, and at this point it's quite literally the only way we get there. But of course, because people have to toe the party lines and be dicks all the time, we can never have anything good. All right. I now hear my child crying. I actually do need to wrap this thing up. So we got through the 5 stories. If you guys have any more you want me to cover for tomorrow, hit me up, mundanemat.com/submit. I will be in the Discord chit-chatting for a little bit, so links to that are in the video description. Thank you guys very much for coming and hanging out with me. I will talk to you all tomorrow night, roughly around the same time, and have yourself a fantastic night.